Fish is often presented as a universal health food, yet age-related physiology changes how the body handles contaminants, fats, and micronutrients. Some species concentrate mercury and other pollutants across long lifespans, while others provide exceptionally clean protein and anti-inflammatory omega-3s. Research in geriatrics highlights large risk differences between species, portions, and sourcing. Storage, feed, and aquaculture practices add further variability that is easy to miss at the grocery counter. Clearer choices emerge by separating high-risk, high-contaminant fish from low-mercury, nutrient-dense options. The following sections outline 4 species that are consistently identified as poor choices for older adults, followed by 4 species that support brain, heart, and muscle health. Emphasis is placed on mechanisms: contaminant bioaccumulation, fatty acid balance, and micronutrient density, so decisions can be guided by principles rather than trends. The goal is dependable. Repeatable patterns that protect cognition, circulation, and mobility in later life. Part 1. 4 fish to avoid after 60 imported catfish. Imported farmed catfish is frequently raised in crowded ponds that increase disease pressure, prompting routine antimicrobial use. Residues and prohibited compounds have been detected in independent testing, alongside heavy metal contamination when ponds receive industrial runoff. Such inputs accumulate in fish tissue and persist into the consumer's plate, adding to total lifetime exposure. Age-related reductions in detoxification capacity magnify the impact of these residues on kidneys, nerves, and immune function. Diet composition in intensive operations matters as well. High corn and high soy feeds skew the omega-6 to omega-3 ratio toward a pro-inflammatory profile, which is unfavorable for joints, arteries, and metabolic control. Textural uniformity can mask this nutritional deficit by presenting a mild-tasting fillet that appears wholesome. Macronutrient tallies show relatively lean protein, yet the overall nutrient yield per calorie is modest. When contamination risk is layered on top, the trade-off becomes unfavorable. Where catfish is culturally preferred, domestically farmed, well-regulated product changes the equation. Facilities following strict water management, feed controls, and residue testing deliver safer outcomes. Even then, rotating to cleaner wild species improves fatty acid balance and micronutrient density. Risk falls when both source and species are optimized. Tuna, large species and frequent intake. Mercury exposure scales with lifespan and trophic level. Large tuna such as albacore and big eye occupy high positions in the food web and concentrate methylmercury through biomagnification. The compound binds to proteins and persists in nervous tissue where it interferes with synaptic signaling and antioxidant systems. Age-related declines in glutathione and selenium status can reduce resilience to these effects. Clinical observations link higher hair or blood mercury to attention deficits, tremor, and speeded cognitive aging. Cardiovascular considerations extend beyond nerves. Mercury increases oxidative stress within endothelium, impairs nitric oxide bioavailability, and can destabilize electrophysiology. Observational cohorts report higher odds of arrhythmia and ischemic events at greater mercury burdens. The effect is subtle at the meal level but meaningful across years of repeat exposure. Risk is additive when other high mercury species are in the rotation. Light canned tuna, often skipjack, generally carries lower mercury than albacore, yet frequent use can still elevate totals. Convenience leads to habitual consumption that exceeds weekly tolerances, particularly in smaller or older bodies with slower clearance. Portion awareness and longer intervals between servings reduce accumulation, but safer species remove the dilemma altogether. King mackerel, not to be confused with Atlantic Spanish. Biennial mackerel spans very different species. King mackerel is large, long-lived, and near the top of its food chain, leading to some of the highest mercury readings among commonly eaten fish. Guidance from U.S. regulatory agencies lists king mackerel in the do not eat category for vulnerable groups, a grouping that includes older adults with reduced renal or hepatic reserve. Symptoms attributed to normal aging can be pharmacologically indistinguishable from mercury effects in real-world settings. Neurologic and mood changes linked to methylmercury. Word-finding difficulties, slowed processing, irritability accumulate insidiously. In parallel, vascular tissues experience oxidative injury that raises inflammatory markers and stiffens arteries. For individuals already managing hypertension or dysrhythmias, the margin for error is narrow. The combination of exposure and comorbidity explains why risk estimates are higher in later life. Dietary patterns improve quickly when this substitution is made. Smaller mackerel species retain omega-3 benefits with markedly lower mercury content. Rotating them with other low-mercury fish diversifies nutrients and avoids single-species over-reliance. The result is familiar flavor with a safer toxicology footprint. Farm tilapia intensive systems. Intensive tilapia aquaculture often relies on crowded pens, frequent antimicrobial and pesticide inputs, and inexpensive feeds that reshape the fillet's fatty acid profile. Analyses repeatedly document high omega-6 to omega-3 ratios, a signal consistent with pro-inflammatory responses in metabolic and joint tissues. Inflammation metrics rise further when meals are breaded or deep-fried, compounding the baseline profile. The combination yields satiety without the cardiometabolic protection expected from seafood. Residue concerns extend to dioxin-like compounds and other lipophilic contaminants, where oversight is lax. These accumulate in adipose tissue and clear slowly with age, adding to lifetime body burden. For older adults, diminished phase 2 detoxification capacity and polypharmacy make interactions more consequential. Micronutrient density, particularly EPA/DHA, selenium, and B vitamins, tends to be lower than in wild alternatives, reducing the return on calories. Safer choices that preserve budget exist. Small wild fish, responsibly sourced cod, and regulated trout provide superior omega-3s, better selenium status, and cleaner toxicology profiles. Reallocating dollars toward these species converts a neutral or negative meal into one aligned with longevity biomarkers. The nutrition per dollar curve shifts decisively. Part 2. 4 fish to favor after 60 wild Pacific cod. Wild Pacific cod delivers dense, easily digested protein with minimal fat and a naturally low contaminant profile. Cold, clean waters and shorter lifespans limit mercury accumulation compared with top predator species. A standard portion provides abundant selenium, which partners with glutathione systems to dampen oxidative stress. B12 and phosphorus support myelin maintenance and bone matrix, areas of frequent concern in later life. The filet's neutral flavor accommodates many cuisines without added sodium or heavy sauces. Sarcopenia prevention hinges on regular high-quality protein intake. Cod's amino acid pattern supports muscle protein synthesis without gastrointestinal heaviness. Light, moist heat cooking preserves texture and micronutrients while avoiding advanced glycation and oxidation that form at very high temperatures. Meals built around cod pair well with olive oil, greens, and legumes for a cardiovascularly balanced plate. The result is comfort food that quietly advances mobility goals. Sustainability practices in Alaskan fisheries set a useful standard. Quotas, habitat safeguards, and traceability programs protect stocks and reassure consumers. Labels indicating wild Alaska Pacific cod narrow variability in quality. Consistency helps turn sporadic fish intake into a weekly pattern that supports strength and cognition. Sardines, canned in water or olive oil. Sardines deliver unusually concentrated EPA and DHA without mercury concerns because they feed low on the food chain. Their soft, edible bones supply highly bioavailable calcium and phosphorus, and the flesh offers vitamin D and B12 in meaningful amounts. This combination supports bone density, neuromuscular function, and mood, domains that often weaken simultaneously after 60. Regular intake correlates with lower inflammatory markers and improved vascular elasticity. Shelf stability and cost remove common barriers to fish consumption. A single tin adds top-tier omega-3s to salads, whole grain toasts, or warm grains in minutes. Olive oil-packed options contribute additional polyphenols and enhance fat-soluble nutrient absorption. Water-packed options reduce calories while preserving the core benefits. Both formats sidestep the preparation complexity that discourages seafood in some households. Tolerance is generally good, and sodium can be managed by choosing lower salt labels and rinsing when desired. Flavor acclimation is aided by acid, lemon, herbs, and crunchy vegetables. The goal is a repeating pattern, not occasional superfood events. Consistency is where protective physiology takes root. Wild Alaskan salmon. Wild Alaskan salmon combines high EPA/DHA content with the antioxidant astaxanthin, a carotenoid that protects lipids and membranes from oxidative damage. Observational and imaging studies link higher DHA status with larger brain volumes and better memory performance in older adults. Inflammation markers such as high sensitivity C-reactive protein tend to fall with regular cold water fish intake. Selenium and B vitamins round out a cardiometabolic friendly profile. The net effect is protection across brain, joint, and vascular domains. Contaminant exposure is minimized in wild stocks from regulated Alaskan fisheries. Natural diets and open water life cycles reduce PCB and dioxin concerns commonly associated with certain farm stocks. This cleaner background allows frequent inclusion without driving up body burdens. The pink-orange color signals a astaxanthin content that adds to the anti-inflammatory effect. Protein quality is excellent and useful against age-related anabolic resistance. Moderate heat baking, steaming, or gentle grilling preserves fats and pigments while avoiding charring byproducts. Pairings with leafy greens, pulses, and nuts create balanced plates that reinforce glycemic and lipid control. Meals remain satisfying without heavy starches or added sugars. Rainbow trout, U.S. regulated. U.S.-raised rainbow trout from regulated systems offers a rare combination: reliable cleanliness, meaningful omega-3 content, and broad micronutrient support. Routine monitoring limits contaminants while controlled freshwater environments ensure predictable composition. A single serving provides around a gram of omega-3s, along with potassium, selenium, zinc, and niacin. These nutrients address blood pressure balance, antioxidant defense, immune competence, and lipid metabolism simultaneously. Textural gentleness and mild flavor improve adherence for those who dislike stronger fish. The fillet cooks evenly and remains tender at modest temperatures, which preserves delicate fats. B12 content supports nerve conduction and reduces fatigue. Vitamin E protects membranes and complements selenium's redox role. The overall package aligns strongly with geriatric nutrition priorities. Versatility helps the habit stick. Trout bakes, pan sears, or grills quickly, accepting herbs, lemon, and olive oil without heavy sauces. Side dishes can be as simple as roasted vegetables and whole grains, creating balanced plates in under 30 minutes. Routine rather than novelty becomes the driver of benefit. Conclusion: species choice determines whether a fish meal reduces inflammation and supports cognition or adds to contaminant load and metabolic strain. High mercury predators and intensively raised, nutrient-imbalanced fish shift physiology in the wrong direction, particularly in later life. Clean, low-mercury species with robust omega-3 and micronutrient profiles move physiology towards steadier memory, calmer joints, and stronger muscles. The pattern accumulates across months in the same way risks do. Reliable results come from a simple template. Avoid king mackerel, large tuna, intensive tilapia, and poorly regulated imported catfish. Favor wild salmon, sardines, regulated trout, and wild Pacific cod. Cooking methods that use moderate heat and minimal char preserve fragile fats and pigments, while olive oil and vegetables complete cardiometabolic balance. Shopping habits that prioritize traceability and regulated sources reduce uncertainty. These choices are not about perfection, but about drift. Repeated small decisions nudge biomarkers, mobility, and clarity in measurable ways. Over time, gait becomes surer, conversations feel sharper, and mornings begin with more energy. Fish then functions as both nourishment and quiet prevention, aligned with the biology of healthy aging.